Correspondent Jim Engel continues our On the Job Hunt series. Tonight he begins a three-part report on taxes. Tonight, how tax policy affects job growth and some guidance from a few very unlikely sources.
The Europeans are known for expensive social welfare systems and the high income and sales taxes that go with them. But oddly enough, the U.S. has higher taxes affecting job creation than all but one of the major economies of the world.
There's a big misconception that Europe has much higher tax rates than the United States. And that's no longer the case in many aspects, especially when it comes to corporate taxation.
In fact, the U.S. is a close second to the highest corporate tax rate in the world, which belongs to Japan at 39.5%. The U.S. is just below that at 39.1%. In a grouping of 30 large economies known as the OECD, including all of Europe, 21 economies had corporate tax rates in the 20s or lower, with several in the teens. Ireland is lowest at 12.5%.
We're shooting ourselves in the foot by imposing these high taxes because we're making the United States a difficult place to do business in and do business from.
Taxes definitely have an impact on investment. There's no question.
Gale says incentives for job creation come in many forms, including reducing regulations, but taxes are a key part.
Without trying to be alarmist about it, what's happening is we're losing our edge relative to other countries in terms of this being an attractive place to invest.
The OECD, that group of 30 major economies, surveyed its nations about tax policy and found that high corporate rates were the most harmful for long-term growth. That's why so many other nations have been reducing corporate tax rates over the last few years, while the last reduction in the U.S. was under Ronald Reagan. Even China, the world's most populous nation and once a bastion of communism, now has a corporate tax rate of only 25%, some 14% below U.S. rates.
They wanted to lift 1 billion people out of poverty, so they reduced the taxes on saving and investment and capital formation. And they're growing very, very nicely in spite of the world financial panic.
In the last quarter, in fact, China grew at 8.9%, some 3 times the U.S. rate. So when the president and others sit down and gather for a job summit later this week, it might be worth considering the impact of corporate tax rates on both economic growth and on job creation. Brett.
Okay, Jim, thanks. A controversy in the